Welcome back, gang. We have a lot of stuff to get to, so the first thing I want to tackle is getting rid of this default client landing page that we have here. Okay, so if we go back to the text editor, we go to client. This pages folder has a list of the pages that we have loading. Okay, and as you can see, there's a component here. If we go to the components folder, we'll see that it's here, which is just an SVG. But we can go ahead and strip all of this out because we don't need any of it. And we can get rid of this style too because we're going to be using Tailwind to style our pages. So if we go back to the text editor, the browser, once that refreshes, and it gives us a little percentage time here on the bottom right corner, you can see now that we have a fully blank page. Okay, so let's start figuring out what's what in here. So I'm going to start by pasting some code in this first div. Okay, and then in the second div, we'll open that up, and then we're going to have a span tag. So in the span tag is going to be the name of our app, which is Friendzy. So I'm going to go ahead and also paste some more classes into this div. Okay, and all these are is a container, max width, max auto, and then this one is flex, justify center. This is just going to make everything nice and center for us. So then we go to the span tag. We're going to add some classes to that. It's just a few, so I'll type them out. So the text is going to be gray 700, and the text will be 5XL. Okay, so let's head back into the browser and see what we have. Okay, cool. So we have our app name right in the center here. Let's start working on this navigation up here that we need. So to do that, we want to go to, we don't need this anymore, so we can close that. Where the navigation is coming from is if we go to our layouts folder and default. Okay, this right here, this Nuxt right here, is our entire app, and this just is the component that comes with Nuxt. Okay, so we're just going to get rid of this. And actually, we do need that default export, so get rid of that. And I think I erased it from down here, or maybe not. We'll just go ahead and add a new one. So it starts right here. Get rid of that. And then we'll just put JavaScript. And we'll just leave it at that. Okay, move this over. And then bring this up. Okay, so this I just want to slide over a little bit. And now we can get to work. So right above this Nuxt component is where we can put our navigation. Okay, so first let's just have, we're going to have a div. It's going to be bg teal 500, text white, and text medium. Okay, we'll open that up, and then we're going to have a nav with the classes of container, flex, justify, between, item center, mx auto, and py5. Okay, so we'll open that up. Then we want to span with the classes of font, semi-bold, text 2XL, and tracking wide. Okay, open that up. Well, actually, we don't need to open that up. We'll leave that as one line, and then we'll just add our app name right in there. Let's see what that looks like. We'll go back, and now we have our app name in the nav bar, and we have a nav bar. Okay, So let's head back to the text editor and keep going. Okay, under this span tag, we're going to have another div, and the class is just going to be space x2, and open that. We're going to have a template, open that. There's going to be a span tag without any classes. It's going to say welcome, comma, and then we're going to do in here a Nuxt link, but we're not going to point it anywhere yet. Nuxt link is just Nuxt version of router link. If you were using Vue.js, router link would just keep the page from refreshing, and it's just its own special component. So Nuxt link, okay, and right now it's just going to be 2 equals hashtag because we don't have a page to set it to yet. And then the classes will just be hover, text, teal, 200. And then I'm just going to put for now username. We'll hard code it until we can get some users. Username. Okay. Then we're going to copy this. And then we're going to add it under the span tag. We're going to add it 1, 2, 3 more times. And they're all going to be the same. So the first one will just say friends. I'll put these in caps. Friends. Users. Dashboard. And then we'll have another template. This is just going to make it quicker so that we can just plug in everything once we get the user registered and logged in. Template. And here we're going to add 2 more Nuxt links. Paste. Hold these back. And the first one is just going to say register. And the next one is going to say login. Okay. Now under this dashboard one, we need to put one more, and it's actually going to be an A tag. Okay. And for now, we'll just set it to hashtag class equals, and then until we have the function, we'll just put logout for here. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look and see what we got. Okay, so it's a bit full, but you can see we have the hover and everything on there. Okay, so let's go back. Now, Nuxt has a very, very simple way of handling components. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to take this navigation and we're going to extract it into its own component. And we'll just X out of that, or cut that out of there. We'll go to components, and right in here we're going to create another file, and we're going to call this one nav.view. Okay, so HTML, we'll paste that in there, and then JavaScript, and we'll just leave that empty for now. Okay, now let's line this up, make it look pretty. Okay, slide this over, bring it up. Okay, so now in the default, where we just took it out of, all we have to do is now add the component. Okay, we'll do the shorthand like they have. Okay, so now the way that it's set up with their router link, this is all we need to do. Nuxt already reads the components, and as soon as it finds one in one of the pages, it just goes ahead and displays it. So if we come back, and it's already refreshed, but if we refresh it again, you'll see that everything will still be the same. Okay, everything is still the same. Now we don't have any pages yet, but we're going to work on that in a second. So that's good. We can actually delete this logo component because we're not using it at all. Okay, so now this default, one more thing about these layout files is if you ever have a page where you want a slightly different layout, like let's say you want to use a different nav for a certain page or whatever, you can also do the same thing and create your own layout file, your layout file, just like the default, and add that to the new component. So let's say we were doing it to this component, just for example, or let's just do it like this. If we're in this page and we want to change the layout, all we have to do is now add layout and then whatever the new nav or whatever the name of the new component is. Okay, so it makes doing things like that really, really easy without, you don't even have to think about it really. Okay, so now we can close back the index. We can actually close this too. Make it nice and tidy. Okay, and now we're done with the default. And now we have the layout, but we need to make some routes to be able to fill in here. So why don't we start with the dashboard, since that's going to be a really easy thing to do. Okay, let's come to pages and we'll open up a new file and we'll call it dashboard.view. Okay, so we need an HTML div, and then we'll just say dashboard. Just put this on one line. Okay, and then we'll just make a script section. Okay, and we don't need to do anything else in here, but if we go back to the nav component in the dashboard Nuxt, all we need to do now is just add a slash dashboard. That's all that we need to do. We just need to call the route. Okay, so we'll go back and refresh. Well, we don't need to refresh, it does it on its own. I'm gonna keep forgetting to do that, but yeah, so if you see we hover over dashboard here and we click it, takes us right to the dashboard page. See that? Now we're done. Okay, so now we can go ahead and close out the dashboard. The next thing I want to do is start building up these register and login auth pages. So how we're going to handle this is we're going to go to the pages folder, we're going to create a new folder, and we're going to call it auth. Okay, and the first file we're going to make is called register.view, and the next one is going to be called login.view. Login.view. Okay, so just to make sure we don't get any errors as we do this, I'm going to flesh out the login page with some quick scaffolding. Login, and then we'll just add a little JavaScript. Slide this over. Done. Now the register page, we are going to add our HTML. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to paste a bunch of code in here just to save us some time. So it's the entire layout for the register page, but it doesn't have any errors or anything in there. It's just the scaffolding. So let's go ahead and add a JavaScript section. Slide that over. And we can head to the browser and see if that works. So it's already auto refreshed. Where is it? Register. Click that. Oh, we need to add the route. So we'll go to navigation, the nav component, and down under register, now we can just put auth or /auth/register. Okay, let that compile down, go back to the browser. Now we can hover it and see. And now if you look at the bottom left down here, you'll see that we have the new route. So let's go ahead and see, hover and look left. Okay, so let's click it. Now we have a registration page. Okay, so why don't we try to bring this up a bit. Let's go back to the registration page. Go up, margin top, let's try 16. Okay, cool. That made it a little bit more centered. So this name under here, this is just what I put as temporary holds, and this will be what we use for our validation errors. Okay, and just to make a quick note, I also added a username field for the form because we're going to be using that in our backend once we get to it. Okay, so let's head back to the text editor, and we can actually go ahead, copy this. Copy, go to login, can add this here, paste, and then just take out what we don't need. So now this is going to be login. And then up here, let's see, we're not going to use the name or username. We're going to be logging in with our email. So we only need the email field and the password field. Okay, so get rid of that. Confirm. Blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. Go back to the nav and add that link too. So we'll come down to the login and we'll do the same thing. So auth, login. Okay, now that that's compiled, let's head back to the browser. And if we hover over login, we should be able to go to it. Okay, cool. So one more thing I want to do is we're going to be using a few buttons here. So I want to show you also how to extract this and do it kind of like the social network where we had components for these buttons, because we're going to be using it in two places and we want to cut down on as much code as we can. So let's head back to the text editor. And now in the, well, let's grab it from the register page. So in the register page, if we go down to the button, we can take the classes off of it. Okay, cut that out. And then in the components folder, okay, we can just create a new file and we'll call it tailbutton.view. We'll say HTML. And then we'll have a button. And then this button will have a type equals type. Class, we'll paste that class in there. And then down in the JavaScript section, slide that over. We'll add props, type, type, then it'll be string, and the default will be button. Okay, so that's good. Now we grabbed it from here, I believe. Yep. So now here we can just put teal button. We can get rid of this class. And then we can just bring this up to one line now. So register, register, and oh, that's not spelled correctly. Teal button. And then as you can see, we're not importing it at all. Nuxt is just reading it from here. So now let's make sure that this is in our app. We did that on the register page. So let's go back here. And we don't see our text. Did I not write it? Teal button. Okay, this should be correct. Let's make sure that everything is in here the way it's supposed to be. We also need to add in the button tags a slot to make sure that it gets displayed. Okay, because since it's pulling in the component, it's just going to pull in the text that we have in the register component right here. Now let's go back and make sure that that's the same. Okay, so cool, it's pulling in the component. So let's head over to the login section and also add that new component in here. So we can just copy this one, or Actually, we don't even need to do that. We'll copy this one. Copy, go to login, and we'll change out this button altogether. Paste, and now we'll just let it say login. Okay, so let's make sure that's still the same. Go back to the browser. Okay, it's finished compiling, and it's the exact same. Now let's start working on this authentication system that we have here. So if we go back to the text editor, we'll close login for now, we'll close button for now, and the nav, we can close that for now and keep the registration open. Okay, if we go back up to the API folder, and then we go to the app folder, actions, create new user, we need to add that user field that we have here in the form. Okay, the username. So we need to change that in here first. So we're gonna come down, we're gonna go right here, and we're gonna copy paste. This is now gonna be username, and then we're gonna come down to the user create, and we're gonna do the same thing here. So copy paste, and then we'll change this and this to username. Now keep in mind these are coming from Fortify. Okay, so it works a lot like the old Laravel UI that we used to have. Okay, so then we need to come down to this update user profile information, and we need to make the same changes in here. So right under validator make, copy paste, and then we add username, and then we come down here to the force fill, and then we add username. Now we're not implementing this update user changes because we've already done that in the previous series, in the social network series, but it's good to have anyway, just in case, so that we make sure we don't throw up any errors. Okay, so now we can close these out because we're done in here. Because we already have authentication set up, we just need to make calls to the routes that are already up. So if we open up a new terminal, okay, and we'll spread this open, and we cd into API, the API folder, and we run PHP artisan route list, and we're going to make it compact so we can see it in the same screen. Okay, if we run that, these are the routes that Laravel Fortify is giving us. We have a login, a logout, register. This is the sanctum, user confirm password status, and the user route. So these are already done. We just need to make calls to them, okay? But to be able to do that, we need to add that to our course config. Okay, so if we go to config cores, we need to add those routes to this paths key in here. Okay, so we can just do register. We can do login. And then we can do logout. Okay, and now our paths are just set in to not throw up that error that says that they're not authorized. Okay, so we can close that now. There are a couple of more things that we need to configure in the Nuxt JS before we can start putting in those functions. So if we go down to, in the Laravel sanctum, right under it, okay, we need to add a user, and then we need to make the property false. All this is doing is just making sure that we don't have a, it's just letting it know that we don't have a wrapper for the user, like a data wrapper or anything. And then we need to restart it after, but actually this needs to go up one. Okay, comma, user URL, okay, and then under here before the last one, right above the build, this one, we also need to add a redirect. So redirect, open that up, and then it's going to be login, auth, login, since now we have that page. And then we're going to add the home, which is going to be dashboard. It'll be our landing page once a user logs in. All this is doing is saying if a user's on a page and they're not authenticated, we want to redirect them to the login page. Okay, so that's all that that's doing. The other thing is, if the user does log in and they are authenticated, then we want to just send them strictly to the dashboard page, and then they can go anywhere they want to go from there. So let's go ahead and restart this. npm run dev. Okay, cool, that was successful. So now let's go into the register page and start adding in our form info. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is add the methods. So it'll be at submit prevent, and we're going to call it just register. Okay, so then label name, that can stay the same, but we need to add a v model to the input. So we'll say v model equals form name. Okay, and then for the span tag we can put, well, we don't, yeah, well, we have validation, so we can say if errors.name, and then in here now we can add some curly brackets, and then it's errors name, and then we need a bracket and the 0 for the first error. Okay, so let's open that up. We can grab, well, okay, so input text, we'll say v model form.username. Span is going to have the vif errors username, and then in here same thing, errors username brackets 0. I'm going to go ahead and do the rest of these. I'm going to pause the video so you don't have to sit and watch me do it all, okay? I'll be back in a second. Okay, so I've gone ahead and added the v models to all of the fields and the error fields. Okay, so we'll come down to the JavaScript section, and then we'll start with the data property. Okay, it's going to be a function equals, and then curly brackets, come down, and we're going to create a form. We're going to open that up, and then we need a name, username, email, password, confirmation. Okay, after that we need to come down here and create a place to put our errors. Okay, so initially we can just start off with null. Okay, now after that we need to add the method section so we can put in our submit methods. Open that up, and we're going to use async for the register and the login. Okay, so async register, open that up. We're going to have a try catch, and then we're going to create a let errors variable equals an empty, we'll just say null for now. Then it's await this Axios get, and don't forget to put the $ in front of the get, because otherwise it won't work. Okay, so parentheses sanctum CSRF cookie. And if you remember, this is the path that we added to the cores file, cores. Okay, this was already set to default, but this is what that's making a call to. Okay, and so now we can go back to the register page and continue on. So now we have the cookie. Now await this Axios post, because it's a post request, and then we just put to register, because again, that's in our cores file. We just did that. Okay, so now after that, we need to also include this form into this request. Okay, so then we're going to put then response equals, and we'll leave this empty for now. We just need to make the response, and then catch error equals, and then we can say here if error response status equals 422, meaning we are getting a 422 status, so something's wrong with the email, any of the validation errors that we have, then errors equals error response data dot errors. Okay, and then we'll come down here and we'll say this errors equals errors. The reason we have to call errors here is because with JavaScript you can't really call this errors within an async await. In this, you have to call it, give it a value, and then change it down here. It's just something with Vue.js and how it works. Okay, so now here we go await this, because now we can automatically log in that user. So log in with Laravel Sanctum, and that's the strategy that we're using. And then we're adding the data, this form. Okay, and this we can close up because we're not going to put anything in here. Okay, why don't we try this and see if it works? Hopefully it does. So let's refresh, and then let's open up the inspect tools. And password confirmation is not defined. Did I forget to add that? Oh yeah, you probably saw that. Okay, so let's try that again and come back to the browser, refresh it. Okay, so now the error is gone. Let's try to log in a user or register. test.com, password. Okay, let's look at our sources. Network. Okay, so now it logged in, but home is not defined in 4 to 5. Like, this isn't part of our connection. This is the default setting for 4 to 5, and you can check that by going up to the root service provider, and there it is. So now we have to actually go into the middleware and it redirect if authenticated. We need to make some changes in here. So we need to change how this how this is working. So for each guards is guard, it's looking for the auth guard, and if the auth guard checks, then it'll go ahead and so basically an authenticated user. Okay, so we need to change this. So now if we put if auth guard check, okay, and then we add another one, and we say if request expects JSON, okay, then we're going to come down here and we'll say return response JSON, and then we're going to have an error, and it's going to say equals already authenticated. Okay, and then we can put a period here, and then over here we can add a 200. That'll be the response that we get. And then when we return redirect, instead of redirecting to this home, we need to figure out a way to connect this request and bring it to the front end so that Nuxt can understand it, accept it, and do something with it. So to do that, we need to actually create a new environment route, okay, an environment variable. And that environment variable, we're going to add it in here. We'll add it to the environment, the .env in a second, but it's going to be a URL, env, okay, and we're going to call this one spa URL, okay. We're going to put a dot at the outside of that, and then we're going to, we don't need a space, but we need a slash and dashboard. So what this is going to tell from the back end to the front end that if we are authenticated, then we need to go back to the front end and go back to the dashboard instead of going back to the default home route that Fortify is trying to send us to. Okay, now we need to do that in one more place. So if we go to the authenticated file, we need to also change this, the expects JSON. We also need to add that new route, okay, or that env variable. So we're going to say, we'll get rid of this, and we'll say URL env spa URL dot, and this one is actually going to go to the auth login page. Okay, so now if the user is not authenticated and they are trying to hit a route, now we can go ahead and just send them back to the front end to reach those routes, which is the auth login route. Okay, so let's clean that up. Let's clean that up. And now let's go back to the .env file. And in here, we can do it right up top under the regular app URL. We can copy this, paste it, and now just change this to spa. Now there's one more thing that we need to configure. If we go to our config, okay, and we go to Fortify, Fortify has a, where is it? Has its own home path. Okay, so here you may configure the path where users will get redirected. So this is where we want to change it. Now it's calling the root service provider, but we just changed that. So now we need to change this as well to be env spa URL, and then outside of the parentheses, some single quotations, and then dashboard. Before we go ahead and try refreshing this, I just want to stop the terminals real quick. And one thing I also want to add here is that Nuxt needs in order for Vuex to work, Nuxt needs to be activated. And if you check here, it's just saying the directory is not required, but it contains your Vuex store files, and it's set to, the default is set to off. So in order to add it, all we need to do is create a new file, and we call it index.js. Okay, so we can go ahead and do that, and then we can run our PHP artisan serve again, and then our npm run dev and let that run. So I'm going to close this readme. I'm going to close the index file, and then I also want to build out real quick the login. We'll just do it all at once. So login. Okay, so in here we're just going to add our method. So at submit equals login, and we need to put a prevent so it doesn't refresh. Then I'm just gonna have right above the, let's see, right in between this form tag and the div, I'm just gonna create another div with the class of flex call and mt3. Open that up, and we're just going to put vif errors, and then here we're going to have a span tag with the class of text red 200, and we're going to also make it italic, and then we're just going to say in some curly braces errors. Okay, now for the input, we're going to do the model form.email. We can get rid of this since we're just going to have a generic errors field up here, and then here we'll put vmodel equals form.password. And then we're going to come down and start building out our data section. So it's going to be data equals parentheses, curly braces, open it up. I need the colon here too. Okay, open that up, then it'll be form email password. Then we'll have errors, leave that as empty, and then we'll add our methods here. Methods, it'll be async login. Open that up, and let me move this down so we can see it better. Okay, so we're going to do another try catch, and then it's going to be await this auth.login with Laravel sanctum. Open that up, and it's going to be data this form, and the catch error, and it's going to be if error response status equals 422, this errors equals could not sign you in with those credentials. So now that that's compiled, we're going to go back to the browser, and we're going to try this all in one go. Now if you take a look at Vue, in the DevTools, you'll see that now we have a Vuex section. Okay, and if we open this up a little bit, you'll see that there's a strategy, the Laravel sanctum that we had in. Okay, so let's go ahead and empty out anything here. Okay, we'll go ahead and try to log in. So I'll just use form filler, register. Okay, fantastic, and it redirected back to the dashboard page. So now if we come down to the view and go to our Vuex and refresh that, you see now that we have a logged in user true. This is the strategy, and right down here we have our user. So we have the email, the name, the username, and now we can use this stuff in the actual component. So now let's go ahead and try to log in with this user. So we'll go in here, we'll grab the email, copy, we'll come back to the browser, we'll go to the login page, and we'll change this up too so that you can't, if you're authenticated, you can't hit the register and login routes. So we'll come back here, we'll clear out the cookies. We'll clear these out and refresh. We'll make sure that these cookies are cleared out. We'll go in and try to log in. Oh, I need to take this out as well. I'll do that after. So log in. Did I not put the right ones? Let's check the console. Network. These credentials do not match our records. Okay, so we're running into an error where this isn't going through, but I did realize that our user, we added the username field, but we didn't quite add it to our database. So we need to go back and do that. So let's go back to database, migrations, and let me open this up. It'll be the first one. Because we don't really have anybody in here, this is okay to do. So copy paste. We'll add username to this, and in the model we'll do the same thing. So user model, and we'll come down here and we'll add it to our fillables. So username, comma. So let's stop the server, Control C, and then we'll just run PHP artisan migrate fresh, and that'll drop the tables and reseed it. Okay, now that that's done, we can go ahead and restart the server, PHP artisan serve. Let's go check the database and make sure that that new field is there. And it is fantastic. So now let's go back to the register page. We're going to refresh this. So empty cache, hard reload. And we're also going to come in here and clear out the cookies. Okay, so clear that out. Then let's go ahead and try to register a new user. So test at test.com, password, register. Okay, great. We're sent to the dashboard page like intended. So let's go to the login page, and then we'll We'll do a refresh. We'll clear the cookies. And then we'll try to log in again. So test@test.com, password. Log in. Okay, now this is going to the landing page, which we don't want to do, and then it goes to the dashboard. We'll handle it in the next episode, but for now I think we're good. I'm gonna go ahead and push all this stuff up to GitHub. If you guys have any questions, comments, or concerns, drop them down below, and I will be sure to answer as quickly as I can. We'll definitely fix this redirect and clean up the rest of the authentication in the next episode and finish that off altogether, and then move on to the next thing. Okay, so I will leave it here. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.